Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Is this thing all the way up? Yes, it is. Happy freaking Monday to each and every one of you. Wow. I mean, what the world? What an exciting time to be an early adopter in this new asset class that is the digital asset space. Listen, my friends, you and I, we're playing a game that 99.99% of the masses don't even know is being played. And we are winning, my friends. We are winning. And speaking of playing a game that the masses don't know is happening, the freaking Hong Kong Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. Tomorrow morning is the launch. People are sleeping on it. By the way, just to let you know, there is a little kind of um, and I think friendly us versus them thing with in terms of in that Asian market over there with the Hong Kong ETF and the US, the West, by the way, just to let you know, and with some crypto projects as well, with some Bitcoin layer twos and Bitcoin projects as well. Some of the people, Chinese people in the community are like, yeah, we want our thing to be better than your thing. So just understand that's going on as well. So this came from a dude named Marty Party. I don't know, it just came up on my feed. So I'm going to share it with you. It says breaking: the Chinese Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs launch 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. Press conference summary is out. Here is the translation. They had a press conference about this thing in Hong Kong. Highlights: expected larger first day than the USA. In-kind redemptions and subscriptions, which is hugely important. What we got right now is cash. The redemption is in cash with the ETFs past here. Wallet to wallet transfers. Wallet to wallet transfers. Mainland Chinese investors are not allowed to invest in Hong Kong's crypto spot ETFs. Interesting. Hong Kong issuers do not care if the US declares Ethereum a security. They don't care. And that is massively important to note because the US seems to think that they run the world. And you pick Saudi Arabia, you pick the UAE, now Hong Kong. They're not trying to hear what the US Securities and Exchange Commission has to say. In this press briefing, Zhu Hokang, head of digital asset management and family wealth of China Asset Management in Hong Kong, and Wayne Huang, head of OSL ETF and custody business, answered the following questions. I'm only going to go through one question. What does the China Asset Management in Hong Kong think about the scale of capital inflows on the first day of listing of the Hong Kong crypto ETFs tomorrow? Zhu Haokang said, I am very confident that the trading scale of the Hong Kong virtual asset spot ETF on the first day of listing can exceed the trading scale of the first day in the United States. The issue and scale of the 10 US Bitcoin spot ETF issuers, 10 of them, on the first day of January 10 this year was 125 million between 10. US dollar Hong Kong will exceed 125 million, will exceed it, and China is confident to become the ETF issuer with the largest trading volume on the first day among the three issuers. The details can be revealed to everyone at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Interesting stuff. And then the other guy, Wayne Hoang, says there will be an announcement from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange at 9:30 in the morning, but OSL has indeed completed its first day of raising funds on OSL today with two funds, including the China AMC and another fund that cooperates with us. Remember, this is translation. Okay. Judging from the numbers, the transactions are indeed far greater than capital inflows of the US Bitcoin spot ETF on its first day of trading. So they're going to announce the numbers. We'll see. But again, you see that little competition thing kind of going on. Let me address this thing again here one more time. I know I did it in a live stream. Jungle Inc. did this poll, and look, I'm going to speak to it a little bit. Would it bother you if a YouTuber had an undisclosed ambassador agreement with Ripple, and part of that agreement had terms against speaking bad about the company or its services? And for me, he's lumping that into one question, but it's two different things there. It's two different things. And the agreement is, just between two parties. So if a content creator agrees to the first part, I think that's awesome. Would it bother you if your YouTuber had a ambassador agreement with Ripple? Undisclosed, disclosed, I think that's between the two if they want to get that out, right? Ambassador thing with Ripple, awesome. It's the other part that is alarming to me. And that is, and part of that agreement had terms against speaking bad about the company or its services. That part, I don't get that. And why would anyone agree to something like that? I guess if you need the money, you need the money. But in the end, you got to speak the truth. You got to speak the good, bad, and the ugly. You got to speak the good, bad, and the ugly. You got to speak, for example, would they not, under this agreement, would they not be able to say that the AMM launched and they found the bug and it was launched with the bug and it's been taken down within 48 hours? Is that bad? Would they be able to say that? What is that? Part of that agreement had terms against speaking bad about the company. I mean, I don't know. It's the Ripple X people who put it together, right? They're part of Ripple. You can't say that. So that's what I would have a challenge with there. As a content creator, I would have a problem with that personally. So I said, absolutely, it would bother me. And 76% of the people, almost 77%, said yes, it would bother them. And probably because it would be something that is undisclosed, for sure. I've spoken to this heart time and time again. Jungle Inc. did a video. He mentioned Brad Kimes and XRP Las Vegas, et cetera, et cetera. Again, for me, I think that if you want to be an ambassador or to get a content, you're producing content, awesome. You got to respect the community. In my opinion, Brad Kimes does not respect the community. He's borderlining, in my opinion, he borderlines on using the community, in my opinion, borderlines. So, and until he takes down those videos of cursing people out, I'm going to keep saying it. So there that is. So, and the other thing I think is that would be great. I think if Ripple has some type of ambassador thing. Here's the thing I do know. If sponsors of a YouTuber finds out that he's cursing out the community in which the sponsors hope to bring and or purchase their products, I bet you they'd have a problem with that. Bet you they would. So there it is there. I'm not going to speak on that madness anymore, but 76% of the people said, yeah, they would have a problem with that being undisclosed. And part of that as well, not being able to say anything bad, which might be true. Right? Negatives happen. Bad things happen. Mistakes are made. You can't speak on those because there's an agreement not to say anything bad. That's a challenge. So Meta Lawman says this, on April 20 of 2023, April 2023, the SEC approves a formal investigation into Ethereum. In April of 2023, October, a few months later, the SEC approves 9 ETH future ETFs. That's a problem. Because people, they're investing the money into the futures ETF. I don't know. Anyway, Meta Lawman says, is it weird that Gary Gensler approved ETFs without disclosing to investors that there was a pending investigation into whether ETH was an unregistered security? This is the law. This is an attorney. Met a lawman, Vanderbilt Law. Been around the crypto space, on channels and stuff. Is it weird? I'm thinking, is that ethical to do that? Approve the ETFs without disclosing to investors that there was a pending investigation into whether ETH was an unregistered security? Great question, Metal Lawman. Yeah, no. Let me go over this Charles drama real quick. I think Mr. Huber kind of sums it up best. Unbelievable. Charles Hoskinson of Cardano, we're talking about. Consider Charles's argument. He claims to have always recognized, which is not true, that there is corruption behind the free pass for Ethereum. It's just not true. You can't even put the A in always there with Charles Hoskinson. He fought it tooth and nail. However, it was never about the corruption behind Ethereum, but about the claim that there was corruption behind the lawsuit against Ripple. How absurd is this? Even if one assumes Charles is telling the truth, the question becomes even more pressing. Why waste so much attention and energy on recognizing the corruption behind Ethereum and the SEC while simultaneously dismissing the idea of corruption behind the lawsuit against Ripple as completely absurd and ridiculous? So you believe that there's corruption taking place with ETH and the SEC, but it's absurd to think that part of that corruption could be a lawsuit brought against Ripple. How does that make sense, Charles? It says, why call out a random side, says Dr. Huber, when you too believe that the Ethereum crooks convinced the SEC with money for regulatory favoritism, corruption? Wouldn't calling out the corruption he acknowledged be the more beneficial, ethical thing to do? It's talking out one side of your mouth. Charles is a baffling dude, and I think he thinks he's so smart that he can get away with the nonsense. Eleanor Terra put this out. This is interesting. Says, new. I've reached out to GOP Majority Whip Tom Emmer for comments on today's court filing from Consensus. And this is what he told me, quote unquote. Last year, Gary Gensler refused to tell Congress if the SEC categorizes ETH as a commodity or security. Newly released court documents show that the SEC's enforcement team was directed just weeks before Gensler's congressional testimony to proceed as though ETH is a security. This regulatory dishonesty is reprehensible. It's tainting our great capital markets, harming investors, and threatening U.S. global leadership. Tarek goes on to say, I'm waiting for a comment from Patrick McHenry. So all of that I read there, starting with from last year to threatening U.S. global leadership, that was Tom Emmer. And she said, obviously, she reached out to Patrick McHenry as well and hasn't got any word from him yet. From Mr. McHenry yet. Another thing from Eleanor Terra, and I'm going to end here with this. The filing says Ethereum 2.0 investigation, as it was called. Ethereum 2.0 investigation. I would imagine that has to do with staking. But anyway, was based on the SEC's belief that possible offers and sales of certain securities, including but not limited to ETH, had occurred since at least 2018. That's the ICO stages, right? If the Gensler SEC finds Ethereum to be a security, it would contradict prior SEC guidance under Chairman Jay Clayton. In June of that year, then Director of Corporate Finance Bill Hemmons stated in a speech The SEC's position that Ethereum alongside Bitcoin is not a security. And I said from the beginning, that was going to be the challenge. Was Gary Gensler's SEC, were they going to be willing to go in opposition of the Clayton-led SEC? And I thought, nope, he ain't going to do it unless there's some political advantage. He would 100% do it if there was some political advantage. In other words, this dude is still trying and grasping and trying to set his place in, the next administration, some political position. He's still trying. It ain't about this. None of this is about investors or protecting American investors. This dude's move is about him trying to get a spot in the administration, next administration. All right, so fam, that wraps up your XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. I hope that it has been of value to you. If it has, do me a favor and hit that like button. It's the greatest way to help the channel out for sure. And if you've been hanging out and listening, watching the crypto season, you've enjoyed those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.